going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to the Transfer View, man. Happy Friday. It's the weekend, man. Hope you guys are doing good. Hope you're feeling good. Hope you're buzzing. We still don't know what's going on with Erik ten Hag. There's loads to talk about in regards to that. Transfers, rumours. You know, the England squad was out yesterday. Harry Maguire's not in it as well. I want to talk about that. Kobbie Mainoo's in it, of course. Luke Shaw did make it. Loads to talk about that. So we're going to be discussing Erik ten Hag decision latest. What's going on there? Ten Hag with 9 million payout. Interesting, because obviously we have got Europa League now as well. So we did get Europe. Hold that to people who didn't think we would, but that's come at a bit of a price. The review is still ongoing, apparently. Jamie Jackson has had some interesting things to say or not say on social media, as has some others as well. What else have we got? Greenwood swap deal as well. There's loads of people that are in for Mason Greenwood at the moment. Some prices being quoted of what Man United want. The clubs, you know, that are interested. We've seen Atletico Madrid. We've seen Juventus. So maybe some other clubs in Spain as well. So loads going on there with the Mason Greenwood situation. And a Bruno Fernandes future update as well. So a jam-packed show, as it always is, every single transfer view since we start. Every single morning show, to be honest with you. It's never a dull day at Man United. There's never a day where it's quiet. It's nothing really going on.
Yes and no, isn't it? I suppose the problem at the moment is there are dull days. There isn't a lot going on, but there is. You know what I mean? It's very.
But it always is at the same time.
Yeah. It's very, very strange. But hey, Flex, is today the day? Is today going to be the day? Wow, we've been waiting all week, haven't we? We've been waiting all week. We've heard the rumblings, the rumors, the speculation, the scuttlebutt, if you will, saying that a decision's going to be made this week. A decision's going to be made Wednesday. No, Thursday. Yesterday. You know, you're refreshing the timeline like this the whole time, going, is anything going to happen? No. Well, is today going to be the day? We shall see, Fleck, because Jamie Jackson has said this just in the last few minutes, actually. He's put a really lengthy article out from The Guardian talking about just, I guess, the state of play for Manchester United at the moment. He has said, and this is what's curious about this, Flex, it's a really long article, and it's, once again, we're looking at like 2 lines.
Is it 2? I knew it would be, because when I saw the thing he posted, I was like, well, that's not a headline.
It's not a headline.
Clarity coming.
Yeah. No, it's not.
It's a line.
It's a couple of lines in this big article where he's just talking about the state of affairs, really, at Manchester United. But he has said Erik ten Hag remains in a limbo that has stretched for almost 2 weeks. Clarity is expected on Friday, that being today, but whether this will occur is unclear. So basically,
what's the point of that?
I know. But there's a little bit more. David McDonald wrote a piece for the Mirror yesterday as well, saying Manchester United sources have indicated the season review conducted by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his football operations team remains ongoing. There is no firm timescale in terms of the anticipated completion of Sir Jim Ratcliffe's season review of the 23-24 at Manchester United. Having secured, though, a Europa League place after all, any compensation Manchester United paid to Erik ten Hag in the event of his dismissal will now be closer to his £9 million a year salary. Of course, previously, it was thought that had we not made Europe, Ten Hag, the whole squad, would have a deduction on their wages due to not being in Europe. Now, the fact that we are in Europe, that deduction isn't going to happen, or it might happen just a little bit less because it's not Champions League, of course, which will mean if they were to get rid of him, they would have to pay closer to his full salary. I suppose circling back to the Jamie Jackson stuff, look, they've sort of, the suggestion is, and that's all it is. Well, it's not even suggestion, assumption. It's not even assumption that something is going to be today. I saw Steve Railston from the Manchester Evening News say something similar a couple of minutes ago, which was basically, well, people are assuming there would be something today because the rumblings that people had heard was that, well, it won't go past this week. It's Friday. So what's going to happen? But still, and I don't know how you feel about this, Flex, just the overabundance of silence from big journalists, David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano.
Yeah, they're the ones.
That implies that still they don't know. And if they don't know, then nobody
knows. Nobody knows, yeah. You're right. And I think that's, we're not trying to discredit others. You know, there's a lot of other journalists who do big work out there. And sometimes, if we're being honest, sometimes, you know, you do get Romanos and David Ornstein sort of crediting Journo X or Journo Y, who you sometimes haven't even heard of, actually. They go, as per, or big credit to such and such. Yep, it's true. Here we go. Or yes, it's true. You know, full agreement or whatever. They don't always get the scoop. But like you said, in terms of the silence being deafening with what Ineos have been doing, the silence is also deafening on something so big from the big wigs. And I suppose only time will tell whether it's because they literally don't know as much as, say, some of the less known journalists, as you could say, or some of the journalists a bit closer to Man United, like in and around that camp, because, the Laurie Whitwells, the Jamie Jacksons, the David McDonalds, and the Rob Dawsons, and the Samuel Luckhurst of this world. Never really Simon Stone, even though he's right in there and has been for many years. He's not a breaker of news, is he really? He's never has been, and neither is Peachy. There's certain guys who just kind of refrain from that. That's just not their role in the ecosystem, which is fine. I don't mind that. I much rather know who's for what, and they stick to that. With Simon Peach, it's squad updates, who's injured, what's going on. And it's not even breaking. It's just when I get to the presser, I know all the fans want to know that. So I'll always open up with that.
Exactly.
With Simon Stone, it's more, he's old school. He's been there since Sir Alex. It's BBC. He can't just be spouting out nonsense on the BBC. Very similar to Sky Sports. You can't just speculate and write a dodgy article here or there. Like, it's the BBC. It's the taxpayers' money. Like, you can't just do that.
They'll work till they get told, basically. Those
exactly.
Those
and Simon Stone's more of a confirmer once like loads of people have said it, and then like it's like rubber stamped by Simon Stone, because he ain't saying nothing unless he's 10,000 million% sure. But back to what we were saying, the silence is deafening, and I think the truth is that they all don't really know. And Ineos have, for how much, do you know what it is? For how many leaks got out before the FA Cup final, right?
Yeah.
It's very interesting that this doesn't happen during this review. Because what do you make of that? Because every man and his dog knew about what Ineos were thinking about doing before the FA Cup final. And you never know, was that bollocks?
Well, do you think
was it, did it just, one little thing got out of hand and someone fanned the flames and it just took off? You had Fjortov saying this, you had who else said something in Germany?
I think the key thing with that is the general sort of prevailing theory with all that kind of stuff is that wasn't coming out of Manchester United's camp. That wasn't coming out of Ineos's camp. That they perceived it as came from Jacob Steinberg, from the Guardian, same publication as Jamie Jackson, but he largely covers Chelsea. Chelsea were looking at Kieran McKenna, so the logic there was maybe from his Chelsea sources, he had heard, Chelsea talking to McKenna. Man United had meetings with him, and all that kind of stuff. And then that kind of,
and that was it. It just went from there. They're going to change it 100%.
So the logic would then be, well, maybe that wasn't a Ineos leak. So still right now, no one knows because they keep things pretty mum's the word between them. Or you can look at the other way of going, they don't have a clue. they still don't know what they want to do.
I don't know.
And they are. And as we've said many a times in recent mornings on this very show, eventually, you've got to make a decision. You've got to make a call. Once you buy into Manchester United for over £1 billion and you demand control of football operations, you're there to make those decisions. You're there to make those calls. And it's not a suggestion of rush into it, knee jerk, just do whatever you feel like. I don't have a problem with reviewing things over and over, but it does get to a point, and they're very close to that line at the moment, aren't they? Where it's like, what new information are you getting now, like you didn't have a week ago? Like what are you seeing now that you didn't see a couple of weeks ago? Like what's any different at this point? And also, as we've said previously, if you are deciding to go in a different direction, are you taking this extra time to find out who the replacement would be? Are you just going to get rid of him and then we're going to be waiting for another 3 weeks, 4 weeks while we find out who's going to be the next Manchester United or the new Manchester United head coach? What's going to happen with all of that kind of stuff? We've got business to do. We've got transfers to do. We've got other things that we need to do. So what's going to happen? And, it is concerning because, like you said, in previous iterations, you would have had at least an indication as to what's going on. And I suppose it's the sheer silence that is leading to this ambiguity of people going, I don't know if this is a good thing or it's a bad thing, but it's leading to frustration because it's leading to frustration because at this point people want to know. But
just want to know either way. The people who think he should leave are like, just like, what's going on? Why
exactly.
And the people, the vast majority who are like, listen, he deserves more time, make sure Ten Hag stays. They're getting frustrated, saying, just hurry up and confirm it already.
But that's the key thing. So I mentioned this yesterday morning too. And this is like maybe a bit more calculated side of things. And we mentioned before, if they were going to make the decision to get rid of him, which would be an unpopular one at this point, they got to make some distance between the decision in the FA Cup final, because there's still a lot of jubilation and happiness at the FA Cup final. Now we're at the stage
Definitely
where
let that go down.
Now we're at the stage where we're like, just give me a decision either way. I'll take it. You know what I mean? So has that?
So is it working? Is it working then?
That's what I was going to say. Has it worked?
Do you know what? Well, a bit, yeah, because I want Eric to stay. I've said it many times. A lot of us here do. Not everyone, clearly. But I am in the thing of like, if they do change him, I will be gutted for Eric. I will. But like you say, Man United keeps moving. I will be like, well, who's this new manager? What's going on? Like, and then you just have to sort of turn your attention to see, right, Ineos, over to you. You've made a massive call, which I think is the wrong one, to get rid of Eric Ten Hag, but you've done it. You have to show us. And it's like, we want to pivot to that, or we want to pivot to, oh, right, we can rest. You've kept him for a year. Then you pivot to, right, over to you, Eric. Like, over to you, Eric. Over to Ineos for the summer transfers and stuff like that. Over to the decision makers, because we now know who the manager is going to be for the next year. Let's get to work. The Euros start on Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, Saturday, next Saturday.
Next Friday.
Next Friday, week today. Euros start, opening game, Scotland, isn't it? Scotland, Germany.
Yeah.
We need to move. We need to move. Football moves incredibly fast. That Euros would have been and gone before you know it. And then by the end of that, which is like what is it? The 14th of July is the final, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
The week, a few days after that, there's a preseason friendly for Man United for people who haven't been part of that. Okay, that's the usual. It's the warm up, the one in. Is it
but you want your manager there for it.
do you know what I mean? You want the manager there for it to start the preparations. Then straight after that came Murrayfield. Until actual America preseason, the actual tour starts. But preseason games start from I think it's the 5th. Is it the 15th? Something like that.
Yeah, it's a couple of days after it. It's not
long. So players who either come back early from the Euros via not getting out the groups or whatever, it's time to rock and roll. And if we're still umming and ahhing about what's going on, which I'm gonna put my neck on the line and say I don't think it's gonna drag on through the Euros, I do think it's coming soon. I know that's the magic. Look, I don't know when.
Who knows? But we said this about the takeover stuff.
Owen.
We said this because this is. I get it. I get it.
This isn't the Glazers now. This is actually Ineos making it. Surely it can't be like, we're at the quarterfinals of the Euros still, and nobody knows who the man. It's not gonna. It's coming soon.
I agree with you. It's coming soon. But what I will say is, I cannot believe we have found ourselves in a similar situation to what we were with the takeover stuff, where people are just spouting bullshit. I mean, have you seen the amount of cryptic tweets? Have you seen
ridiculous?
Eyeballs, gifs, all this kind of stuff. It's like, oh, we're doing it again.
Remember when you used to do it? You used to do it with a guitar flag.
I swear to God, Flex, right now, I could do right now, eyeball emoji sand timer. And shall I do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
Let's see what happens. I'll do it, and then we'll see what it means. Because again, that's what growth is nowadays. Yeah. Whilst I'm
going to do one with a shrug.
Yeah.
And an eyeball.
Yeah.
Just so it just shows you.
Yeah.
What is happening on social media right now.
Yeah. There you go. That's been done.
Eyeball. Right, and I've done one. I've done an eyeball and a shrug.
Yeah.
We'll see what sorts of responses we get.
Yeah, because it's crazy.
And you guys don't fall for it because you're watching. You saw we just did that. Don't come in the comments and be like, "Oh, you've just
it's nuts." But my other theory was, and I wonder what you think about this, Flex. Regardless of what happens with Eric Ten Hag, let's say he stays. Yeah. Let's say they've done the review. Eric, you're gonna stay. I'm gonna give you a new contract, but you're gonna stay. Is that the best thing for him anyway? In the sense of, is he still a dead man walking? You know what I mean? Put yourself in Eric Ten Hag's shoes. If I've been on a holiday for 2 weeks, right? And my family's going, so you're going back to Manchester? What's going on there? I have no idea. I don't know. No one's talking to me. I'm not sure what's going on. They're doing a review, right? Okay. And then your phone rings. You're coming back for pre-season. Whilst you're there, surely you must think to yourself, these guys were talking to replacements like not that long ago. And the reason I've stayed is probably because an FA Cup final, maybe because the guy that they want to get, they can't get right now, or something like that. I'm a dead man walking. So
they don't really believe in him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how must he feel regardless, really?
Yeah, that's true.
If he does go back. Could we
see the Pochettino thing? Remember when it was all about like, oh, you think Todd Bowley's going to get rid of you? And then all of a sudden he was like, I have to want to stay as well. If they don't want me and it's not aligned and they want to start making all these decisions that I don't agree with and stuff like that, want to sell Conor Gallagher and just, other things. What I have to want to stay too. Two people have to want to stay in this thing. When he said that, we were like, all right, Poch, tell you what, didn't really think of it that way. And you never, was it mutual consent in the end, that one?
Yeah, apparently they both went into that meeting and was like, I don't like it.
Point here.
I don't think it's right for me. We don't think it's right for you. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't have that sort of vibe from Eric because he's won the cup and then he was very bullish in terms of the lead up to it. I've had good, we've had good conversations, planning for the future, and then he was a bit more bullish in the interviews live, holding the cup essentially. If they don't want me, I'll win trophies somewhere else. Like it did change. It did change. So I don't think we can actually rule out Eric's position in this because we haven't really spoke about it. We keep, on the side of Ineos and what are they going to decide and stuff. It's a good point you make because they might not even align. And Eric could say, listen, it's clear you don't want me. It's clear you're not going to back me. And actually, I've got more integrity than this. I am committed to this and I want to do it. But even under the circumstances of which you're putting forward and how long it's taken, like you said there, and I do feel like a bit of a dead man walking. And I don't even feel like I'm going to get the support I need. Obviously, the role will change to sort of head coach. That comes with different stipulations. It is changing. We've said it. This is a different Man United to what Erik ten Hag wanted to be a part of. Not saying that means he wants to leave because of it, but there can be frictions. And we can't rule out the fact that they could say, look, we have looked at XYZ, but, we'll see how you get on. And you go, well, it's not really the reassurance I want, actually. Do you know what? It's probably best we part ways. That could be the shock of the set, but that could happen.
Yeah, I put myself in his shoes and I would think I would just know well, if the going gets tough next season, I'm gone. And also when he goes in these press conferences in the future, if he does stay around, that's going to be one of the first questions he's going to be asked, is it? How close were you to getting sacked? And he'll go, no, I was always going to come back. And everyone go, that's bullshit. That's inevitably going to happen. Now, he could stay and then Man United are completely fantastic next season and Ineos don't have a choice but to give him a new contract or what have you. But as we've said so many times over the last season, still fundamentally the problem is that he's not an Ineos guy. That will always be a problem. And the only way he becomes an Ineos guy is if they did eventually give him a new contract. Then he becomes an Ineos guy. We gave him a new contract. So now he's almost our hire. But as of right now, he's not their hire. So when things are going badly, they'll go, "Oh, that's because we didn't have our guy in." Exactly. That's the problem. So I wonder with Erik ten Hag because he must. I mean, if he's on holiday at the moment, you must be like people asking you, your family, you're going to be sticking around. And if your answer is, "I don't know," that is madness.
Still now,
that is.
Well, I wonder what sort of communication he has had with them.
Exactly.
Like, obviously, we're not privy to it. We never will be. I wonder if it's like. Not daily, but like they've said, listen, by this day you will know. So you're in the dark, but we will tell you by this time. Or you are staying. We're just sorting some stuff out in the background. We just wanted to let everything calm down. We'll make a statement. You stay. Like, what is it? What has he been told? Like, I'd love to know how he's feeling on this holiday. Ray Carl Brown been a member for nearly 12 months, and he's nearly a year, which he says been with you guys for almost a year. Big up, yeah, 100%, Ray Carl. We always hear, man. Always good to see you on the show. Big love to you. Daniel Luciano, big up to you as well. Says waiting on that ten Hag holding the jersey pick. Yeah, aren't we all? Well, not all of us. Ray Carl also says, have you guys not thought the longer we don't hear anything, the longer he is there for start of the next season?
There's two schools of thought with it, isn't there? There's one school of thought is the longer we don't hear anything, it's a good thing, and the longer we don't hear anything, it's a bad thing, isn't it? You said, I think you said a couple of days ago, didn't you? Go, I think it's just up to your sort of perception of life, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And then the other day, I had the light bulb moment. I went, he's gone. Like, I think they're going to get rid of him. Show says, you keep saying unpopular, but a lot of fans don't have short memories. The last 2 games in FA Cup final doesn't cancel out the season. Fair play, show. Yeah, you're right.
It's not to say that like it's unanimous that every fan wants to keep him. It's not that,
No.
but I think it is fair to say if you polled every single Man United fan at the moment, there would be more people saying to keep him than saying not. I think, and I know that probably upsets people that say that oh, that's not the case, not the case. But if you do, I think speak to most fans, or you see the sentiment online or what have you, the more people are leaning into having him stay. And again, like you said, it's not to say that people don't want him to. Some people, they haven't been dissuaded. And that, again, as it's been all season, that's totally fine. But there will be, put it this way, what backlash will be larger if he stays or if he goes?
Yeah.
The likelihood, the larger backlash would be if he goes versus if he stays.
Definitely. Splashnet says, well, I've been a member for 9 months. A big up to you, Splashnet. Also as a free agent as well, looking for a club. Says, I believe he's gone simply because he's still on his old contract by the old regime with old terms. He won't stay unless he gets a new one. No, I don't think he has to sign a new deal to stay. I think he has to just agree to the changes that are being made and that he wants to work under them. But then again, if things aren't written down, did they happen? Like that is a weird one, actually. Like, obviously, he signed a contract, under Murto and Arnold, and Splashnet makes a decent point that that's the stipulations he was signed up to work in. If he's to carry on, like say there's a change of ownership, so there's a change of direction and a change of, you have to report to this sort of transfer guy now, and you have to do this now. Is there an amendment of like the thing you signed before that's like a top up? You go, you do have to sign this to say that, or is it like in football, you kind of carry on because we're just the new guys, or like how does that actually work? That's a good point.
I think it would depend. I mean, and again, this is only from sort of very brief experience in HR or whatever. So I don't know how much it correlates, but I would assume it would depend on the language of what's actually in your contract at the time. If he's got actual written provisions, like you said about vetoes and transfers and stuff like that, pretty difficult to work your way around that one, isn't it? But if it's kind of ambiguous, I mean, like who you report into or the structure above you, that's not really written into your contract, is it? No, you can say that.
It probably was be open where the contracts say whoever the designated superior is, you must do that. But like obviously that means
hierarchy, you've got no influence on that kind of thing, who you report into or different departments. Again, it would depend, I would think, on the language that was written in there. But that would be on very specific stuff, I think, i.e. like transfers and all that kind of stuff.
I'd love to speak to someone, when you sort of get people on who they work, that is their job, they know stuff like that. Obviously we're fans, we don't know what that actually looks like. Because when Thomas Tuchel, they went with him for a little bit and then sacked him. When the whole club just got bought like that, what does your contract legislate for that? Do these new guys get to come in and tell you exactly what to do, how you have to do it straight away, even though you're like, does it just become null and void the thing you signed before, but you're still under contract until a certain time? So it doesn't.
Well, they could just come in and go, look, we want to change your role. If you're not willing to change it, we'll get rid of you. Basically, that kind of ends up usually what would happen, wouldn't it? So, yeah,
very, very interesting. Let's see where we are at in terms of likes and upkeep, etc., views. We've got nearly 1,700 people watching, which is brilliant for this time of the show. Big up to you guys. 370 likes. If you haven't smashed a like on the video, please do it now. We want to get to the 750 mark. That is the benchmark for all the shows. Have you hit the like button? 79% of you have said yes. 21% of you are saying doing it now. So get onto it. And share the video, share it in group chats, let people know you're watching, share it with friends, family, let them know United View is live and they can join in the conversation as well. Right, let's get on to the England squad announcement. Is that the second one?
Yes.
Let's get on to that because I'm England out actually a little bit. That was obviously it dominated all last night. It took loads of calls yesterday on TalkSport. We discussed it at length. So, but haven't done it here, and actually more in particular to our players. So, let's get into that because it's there was. I tell you what, actually, start this. Let's start.
Okay. Well, a couple of interesting things here with this
Yeah.
one. So the England squad was announced yesterday. When it pertains to Manchester United, Kobbie Mainoo, Luke Shaw were announced for the England squad. Gareth Southgate did say he's taking, what did he say, a calculated risk with Luke Shaw being included in the squad. Harry Maguire, though, not named in the squad. He released a statement on social media. Of course, he misses out. He's got calf injury, didn't make it. He said, I'm devastated not to have been selected to play for England at the Euros this summer. Despite my best efforts, I've not been able to overcome an injury to my calf. Maybe I pushed myself too hard and to try and make it. Simply, I am absolutely gutted. For me, representing England is the highest honour. It means everything to me. If I can't help the team as a player, I will support them as a fan, along with the rest of the country. Go and win it, boys. Next, I will return to the supervision of the Manchester United medical team in order to prepare for next season. So only 2 United players make it in, Shaw and Kobbie Mainoo. Maguire misses out. I heard you talking a lot yesterday, actually, on TalkSport. I was listening. I was on my travels yesterday, and I was listening to that one. And I was seeing a lot of, or hearing a lot of Gareth Southgate admiration.
Well, I was thinking of you a lot through this show. I was because I need to come back to you, Owen, and I'm not gonna do this to wind you up. I'm not. I promise. Because
it's a really bold decision from Gareth Southgate. It's really admirable what he's done. I was like,
a lot of people were ringing in saying, "You look."
This is Southgate's legacy. I heard that as well. Southgate's legacy.
Yeah.
Legacy.
Spoke to Jim Proudfoot.
Right, I heard Jim Proudfoot. He was really going for Gareth Southgate, wasn't he? He's going, I think he's been massively disrespected and all this kind of stuff. I was like, disrespected.
He was talking to people like you and Rory. Now, Owen, look, I'm not gonna try and piss you off on purpose. I'm not. This is, us in our broadcasting bag. We're discussing the news, literally, how it affects our players, but also we're both English, right? It's the Euros coming out. There's a lot of England fans watching this as well. So we could talk about this. People were saying, well, for the first time, at least you can't accuse Gareth Southgate of having favourites and playing it safe. It's exciting what he's done. There are a couple of boo-boos. Some people are like, okay, the Brantford thing, don't get that. And, some people think that Jack Grealish should be in there. But it looks like he's done something. He's done things he hasn't done before. Does he at least deserve some credit for that? Or is it, no, he should have done this 3 tournaments ago. This was my whole point. And that's exactly why he's rubbish.
Look, I think some of the things, when he talks about favourites, the argument can be made. A lot of the favourites that aren't in there is because there was no way he could get away with it this time. He could not pick Calvin Phillips this time. He could not pick Jordan Henderson this time. Injury meant he couldn't pick Harry Maguire this time. So a lot of his favourites that he's been scrutinised in the past, he just couldn't do it anymore, right? So spare me. The narrative that was...
hold on. The other things weren't...
The narrative... because I heard this yesterday, the narrative of, now finally the handbrake's off. Finally the handbrake's off for Gareth and he's just doing what he wants. Oh, come on. Like, that's not the case.
Well, he didn't have to pick Kobbie Mainoo and Warren.
No, I'm happy. I'm
have to drop Jack Grealish and Rashford.
I'm happy with the squad. I am happy with the squad. I think it's quite funny, actually, like with the whole thing with Rashford, like, I can't believe Grealish has been included instead of Rashford. They both didn't make it in the end. So there you go.
But that's what I'm saying. That's not a Southgate-like thing.
But I look at the squad and I'm happy with the squad. For me, it doesn't really change anything because we've got a great squad of players. My issue isn't with really any of the players. It's with the manager. I don't think he can get the best out of those players that are in there anyway, to be honest. So
does he deserve praise for the selection? No. Yes,
because he's a manager. He deserves praise for picking players. That's his job to pick players. It is.
Not saying does he deserve praise.
I think he's got the majority.
You're acting like I'm asking the question. Does he deserve credit for submitting the team sheet in time? I'm not asking that.
I think he's picked. I think that squad, like I said, maybe a couple here or there, like I said, the Brantford one or whatever. There's a couple of positions you go, a bit light there on certain things. Like with Shaw, is a bit like, okay, how's that going to work out? The left back spot, like there are a couple of things, right?
Okay.
But on the whole, I look at that squad. I'm happy with that squad. I'm like, that squad should be. I still, again, we're not going to win. Like we're not, but just because I do think that our squad not overhyped. But I do look at other squads in that tournament and go, there are better squads, I think, than that in there. Obviously, you go to like France. I think people aren't talking about Portugal enough. By the
Said that
way,
loads of
you
times,
look at their squad
Team's a joke.
position for position. It is insane, right?
Joke,
And I know people, Martinez didn't really work out with Belgium, and he had a golden generation, but he's better coach than Gareth Southgate. He is tactically, he's a better coach than Gareth Southgate. And push came to shove, and well, he beat Gareth Southgate with Belgium with that golden generation a couple of times. So. It just, again, it's almost the squad doesn't matter for me. It's wider. But if you're asking me about the squad, I look at it and I go, like, I'm fine. I'm happy with that. But spare me this, like, some of the stuff where it's like, oh, so he picked this squad. Maybe he could be right for Manchester United then, because it's a happy squad. Because it's a happy squad. That's what I heard Proudfoot saying yesterday.
The man management.
He's like, it's a happy squad. Oh. Well, that's good. I didn't realize Gareth Southgate had all this happiness trophies that we've got going on at the moment. That's good. How many happiness medals has Gareth Southgate got at the moment for all of these tournaments that we haven't won when we actually had legitimate chances to win them? But it's all right because they like going on. They like meeting up with their mates for England duty now. That's cool.
Players love him. Players do love him. So happy. It is a very united camp. But yeah, no. Listen, all trolling and joking aside. I'm with you. I don't think we'll win. When it gets to the big matches, I think one way or another, either through an individual error, somebody not. I know it's quite pessimistic to think this, but like, look at the Kane situation against France. Like, we had the chance to get back into that game, just couldn't. The minerals just blazed it over the bar. You look at what happened against Italy. Southgate didn't check. Like, we will come on. We will. I know we will. And I'm with you on that. All trolling aside, I do think the squad is refreshing. It's good to see for various different reasons of how it happened. But having two novices in there in Kobbie Mainoo and Adam Wharton, that's good to see. The future, we could say, like, the crop of players we've got, which is where the frustration actually stems from. Like, we've got some really, really good players. I tell you, Adam Wharton is one where you look at and think, I tell you what, I know he's only been at Palace 6 months, but I don't know, man. If he can develop all right, try and get in there and nick him off Palace. Like, I mean, him and Kobbie will be all right. But yeah, you have to be careful about, like you said, overhyping the players as well. And there was one caller who said these players now have to prove that they are world class, though. Like, Jude Bellingham has been fantastic for Real Madrid. Unbelievable season. We need him to have a good tournament in an England shirt. He has to rise. Phil Foden's been player of the year. Amazing. Top draw. If he has sort of 3 or 4 bad games and chooses to have a bit of a bad spell now, it's not going to work. Declan Rice has been one of the signings of the season. Unbelievable. Rory made a good point. Soon he was off it a little bit against Bayern when it in the big. It's like, team's probably not going to function. So these guys need to get over the line with all the gas, all the adulation, all the golden generation, the youngness, the young that. Yeah, even Gareth Southgate, even take him out of it, because that's one part of it. The second part of it has always been and will always be the players in the moment when they cross the right line. Don't make stupid mistakes. Don't fall asleep against the best. Don't miss. Do you know what I mean? Like, they have to keep these levels high because Harry Kane's in amazing goal scoring form. Unreal. Yes, he didn't win anything this year. He's in great form. He can't go ghosting in the Euros. We can't not see him get a touch, hardly get a shot. We can't see that.
Yeah, we've seen that throughout history, haven't we? Look, we've had some fantastic players and teams over the years. I remember going into tournaments when I was younger, and Wayne Rooney's coming off a great year, or Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard are coming off a great year, and then you go into the tournament and they don't play that well. I mean, I remember Rooney when Rooney scored against was it Uruguay at the 2014 World Cup in Brazil? Was that his first World Cup goal? He's towards the end of his career.
Yeah.
At that point, that was kind of the point, wasn't it? Of like, so summer tournaments, international tournaments are weird, aren't they? Because, I mean, for all of this talk about the squad, it's not always the best squad that wins it. That's when you go into the manager. It's about, tactics and getting it right on the day. And I don't know. But as far as the United side of it, Kobbie, I'm really excited to see what he does. I think he will play games too. I don't think he's going to just go there for the ride at all. Luke Shaw, I just hope it's not one of those things where it's like we get to the quarterfinals and that's the only game Luke Shaw played. You know what I mean?
So I think he said, what did he say? He said it'd be all right after a couple of games, the second group game, something like that. But again, it's a risk, and he's going to need help from Trippier and Gomez or whoever else, is going to play. So watch this space on that. But yeah, I was just to finish off on that. I was quite sad for Harry Maguire. I know people say he shouldn't play and this, that, and the other, but we found ourselves all of a sudden saying Harry Maguire's not there, and then we're like, shit. Who's the actual options other than him? That's what I'm saying. Centre back is an issue. It's like none of them are like, dead on, 1,000,000%, like so good, unquestionable. Yeah, I like Konsa. I like Gahey. I like Branthwaite. They're all right. Good players. But it's not, Dunk, not for me. I don't even know how he's in the squad. I don't get that.
Yeah, he's had a couple of
over Branthwaite. He's actually played his way out of the squad. I don't know how he's still in it.
Really
but that is a Gareth Southgate special. But yeah, apart, John Stones is the only one true top centre half we have. And it just happens that Maguire's just the second in command, isn't it?
But a lot about Maguire, though, doesn't it? In comparison to where he was 12 months ago.
Exactly.
I mean, from a United perspective and an England perspective, obviously, most people will be like, look, if an offer comes in for Harry Maguire, there's someone he wants to leave, then yes, go, kind of thing. But he played well for us this season. Like he did. It got to the point. I mean, you have to remember where it was. It got to the point where he would walk onto the pitch, the stadium would gasp of going, "Oh my God, this guy's going to come on. He's going to make a mistake." And it was the same for England. He was being booed by England fans at one point, which was never on board with, because it was like, he shouldn't be in the squad. He's playing terribly for Manchester United, or he's not playing. And now he misses out of an international tournament, and we're like, "Oh man, we need him," because he's been
exactly. Who are we going to play?
Yeah. So it says a lot.
Exactly. Still about 1,700 viewers. Big up to you guys. 494 likes, basically 500. So make sure you keep smashing that like button. Let's get the likes up, guys. Lil Yo-Yo says, I read that one actually. No, splashing it. Yeah. Lil Yo-Yo says, Fleck, I recommend you interview an agent or a lawyer who deals with footballers' contracts. Would be some really good piece of content. Would be a really good piece of content. Yeah, that would be. Maybe I'll try and look into that over the summer for you guys. And Tudor C says, in the 5 years since Ineos bought Nice, they've had 5 managers, highlighting their lack of a consistent plan. And United fans trust their decision making. So yeah, not really trusting in Ineos there. From Tudor C. Let's move on to Mason Greenwood. There's a swap deal potential. There's also some stuff here about Juventus.
Yeah,
it's
the same story.
Quite a lot there. Same story. So what's happening?
It's all in one. It's all in one with this one. It's quite interesting. So reports coming out of Italy are suggesting that Manchester United's Mason Greenwood has said yes to Juventus and shown great interest in a potential move to the Italian club. Manchester United, though, want 30 to 34, million, very specific flex.
Yeah,
30 to 34 million pounds for Mason Greenwood, which Juventus consider excessive. Hence, they're studying including players in a potential deal, mainly Samuel Ealing and it's Ealing Julia and Federico Chiesa. Chiesa are another name to pay attention to. How many times have we been linked to him? By the way,
all the time,
every window.
I remember when he was wicked that one season and he got a bad injury.
He did his knee, didn't he? And he
got really bad injury. He was out for ages. But to be fair, I haven't ever really kept an eye on him since then. I don't know how he's even got on.
I think we've seen him a couple of international tournaments, isn't it? Chiesa, again, you talk about like Euros or World Cups. I vividly remember seeing him in like an Italy shirt. It might have been, was he in the Euros that they won, or was he injured at that point? I forget. But still, look, this is going to be the stuff with Mason Greenwood this summer. I spoke about this yesterday too. That people sort of speculate, is there any possibility of him coming back and all that kind of stuff? I think people have to remember that, like you said with the Pochettino stuff earlier on, there are two sides to it, aren't there? So I think Manchester United are certainly in a situation where they're fundraising. So they're looking at players that they can sell this summer because they need to. And Mason Greenwood has clearly been earmarked as a name that they can sell. He's from the academy, so it's complete, pure profit too. And also from his perspective, he might just be like, I don't want to come back. All parties basically like, let's move on into the future. As far as would he go to Juventus, I know they've got a shake-up. They've got a new manager, Motta. So we shall see what happens with Mason Greenwood. But I think he's one of those names, same with Jadon Sancho, that we've spoken about a lot. And I think we will talk about a lot this summer of like, we've got to raise some money somehow, somehow, somewhere. And he's clearly one of those names that United are looking to get a lot of money in.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Chiesa's record there. I'm trying to see when he's at 21-22 and he played 14 games in the league. So it's probably then, because the year before that he played 30 games. And then the year after that he played like 21 games, and initially he played 33 games. So yeah, that one where he played 14. So I'm going to say that injury was probably been around 21, 22
I don't
season.
think it'll be a swap deal or anything like that. I'd be
No,
surprised.
I'll be stunned. Yeah, and
Yeah.
look, they're just I think with the Mason Greenwood situation, despite everything that's gone on in his life off the pitch, clearly he's he's restarted his career, he's reset his career, and that isn't going to be continued at Man United. I think we all understand that, and it's about just finding the suitor for him now and letting him go off. It's it's as simple as that. It will go down as a huge waste of talent. That came through.
Well, from a Manchester United's perspective,
yeah,
because
from
he
a
could still have
Manchester United,
successful
yeah.
career.
Oh, he could still go on to do whatever he was set out to do. It just isn't going to be at our club, which unfortunately with the circumstances that happened, that's how it went. But yeah, we just have to get the best deal for the club, secure the
That's
money.
what I was going to say.
I mean,
yeah.
he's got a year left, hasn't he?
Yes, but I think they might trigger the extension because United still do have leverage. Again, because of the circumstances, it's a difficult one. But that's why Jim Ratcliffe, when he was asked about Greenwood, he's definitely leaving, because then you don't have anywhere to go.
You've got no selling power. Yeah, exactly. So Neil says 500 million spent later. This man wants to start his rebuild with all blame on injuries. If it wasn't for the Man City win, smitten fan backlash, he was long gone. So Neil, strong words there. Gunnar Scar is the latest member of the UV Members Club. Big up to you. Kristen says, will the 6 clubs having to sell before they buy by the 30th of June? Chelsea, Newcastle, Villa, Leicester, Everton and Forest. What one player would you haggle for from each club? If so, Chelsea have to do it. Well, it looks like they'll just make it like Conor Gallagher, though, innit? Or someone that...
Or they'll just sell another hotel, maybe.
Yeah.
I saw that one. I got... that loophole it didn't get banned, did it? They had a vote on it, and the majority decided to keep that loophole about you can sell its hotels or training grounds, and that can go towards FFP. So Chelsea, I think, didn't Chelsea? They sold, was it 2 hotels and like a stadium and a training ground or something like that?
Just fucking, I don't know. Chelsea, if I could take a player tomorrow, obviously Cole Palmer, but he's just gone there. I would take Caicedo.
Problem is like with them, actually, you know, like you say, like realistic one. Well, they just signed him. They just signed that whole squad. So
yeah, just signed the whole thing.
The logic isn't there with that one,
is
it? Yeah.
Yeah. Just give me Caicedo. Just need to put him.
Give me Cole Palmer. He was a United fan when he grew up.
Yeah, true. Newcastle, I'll take Isak without a doubt. Unbelievable. Aston Villa.
Douglas Luiz, even though the shimmy.
Yeah, very good. Give him a Douglas, but now Yardman things, Leon Bailey
Watkins.
for me. Yeah, Watkins up front, but I just took Isak, so. But yeah, Watkins definitely. At the back, I like Carlos. He's very good. Mike Cash is all right. Wouldn't take him though. No. McGinn's wicked, but you wouldn't.
We were linked to him a few times, weren't we?
Yeah, no, McGinn's wicked. Yeah. Leicester. Oh, what's that winger's name?
Weren't we linked with? Was it Dewsbury Hall? When we linked with him?
Oh yeah, Dewsbury Hall's good. Yeah, there's a left winger. Someone put it in the chat. You know his name. He was really good. He's like one of the most. He's got like the most take-ons this year. He's really good. I think he's left wing for Leicester. Or Ricardo Pereira's good. Yeah, that's it. Mavadidi. Yeah, him. He's good. Everton. I'm not on the Onana train, you know. Could be Bramthwaite,
Yeah, you're not that much of a fan. It'd be Bramthwaite, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be Bramthwaite. And Forest. Take a Elanga back, mate. Yeah, Gibbs White, isn't it? He's the best player. Gibbs White.
Yeah,
I'll probably say him. Yeah, that was a nice little bit there, Christian. It's nice to be hypothetical, so have a bit of fun. Gunnarscar has gifted 1 membership as well, and gifted another one straight after that. So 2 memberships gifted as well by Gunnarscar. Big up to you. Thank you. You just Have you just joined the channel as
Yeah,
well?
just joined.
New member, and just start a couple of memberships to make a couple of people join with him as well. So big up to you. Eminem says, big up, lads. I have a story that I come across on Ineos / United through work. Not transfer related, but interesting insights. Where can I send it? Just our emails are in our bios on United View or my personal Twitter. Just send an email.
Yeah.
Austin Baker, been a member for 22 months, says, yo, dog. And Flex, big up you both. And chat at this great 2 a.m. That was 2 a.m. for you.
And he's bringing that kind of energy. You know, it's O-Dog and Flex with
days.
10Xs or whatever, 2 a.m. in the morning.
Jeez,
and when's the merch coming? Soon.
Yes.
If you scream loud enough, then
Josh will hear you.
They might just hear you eventually. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It is on its way. We promise, man. We need to get out. There's a lot of people have been asking, and we always want it to happen. Bruno future update.
Yes, this comes once again from the same article that we started the show with. Look at this. Talk about a loop flex. From Jamie Jackson, and there's a little bit about Bruno Fernandes saying serious offers for Bruno Fernandes would begin at a minimum of £70 million, but the captain is rated by Ratcliffe et al. As United's finest footballer. There is no push to sell, but the Portuguese wants an increase on his salary of about £220,000 a week, to be in the top bracket of United earners at £300,000 a week plus, and is keen to know the club's direction. So the dilly-dallying over the manager cannot have impressed. Now, this is quite an interesting one because as much as people like to sort of poo-poo there's not really anything going on with Bruno, there is some stuff going on with Bruno. Clearly, there is something going on at the moment. What it is, I don't know, but certainly... You know, well, we speculated on it before, didn't we? We said
it's the contract thing. I do think it's the bumper. I do.
Exactly. We said Bruno wants a new deal. And then once you do look at the numbers of people that are above him on the United hierarchy in terms of contracts, you can kind of see why. Because he must look at it and go, Mason Mount's on more than me. Seriously?
Yeah.
Like, you know, or
across the whole squad.
Or look at Marcus Rashford and go, you mean the guy that dropped off massively this season? Even it wasn't even Bruno's best season, by the way, and he still put numbers on the board. Like that's what he'll probably say. Look, I wasn't even at my best. I still put numbers on the board. Why can't I get to that point? So it's going to be really interesting to see how Ineos handled this, because in the past it would have just been, give him a new contract, no problem, 300k a week, yes. But if you want to have control over the wage structure, you kind of push back a little bit. But would that push Bruno out the door? I don't think it would, to be honest. But what do you think?
No, I think Bruno will stay. He'll be fine. I mean, funnier things have happened in football. Stranger things have happened in football. Turns have just appeared from nowhere. So you can never say never in football. But I think it's a little bit of a, maneuvering from his agent, a little bit of agitating from his agent, just to sound out, improved terms. I do. Whether or not he gets that or not as well, with so much happening as well, I don't know. I don't think he will. I just think it's just a sign that, listen, I'm not just going to sit here. Like, once you sort everything, I want to be looking at that. But you never know, though. If someone does take the bait and slap 8 million down for Bruno Fernandes, it arrives at the door. I don't think it will just be that bid's rejected, we're not listening. I do feel like they'll have to say to Bruno, as the captain of the football club, Juventus have put 80 million. Well, they don't really have that type of money, but whoever it is, Barca. Yeah. I don't know who. They don't actually. Yeah. Who would have the money? PSG? I don't know.
PSG maybe. Yeah, I don't think he'd go Saudi. I don't think he'd go there.
No. I don't. So yeah, money wise, you're probably thinking who, but let's just a hypothetical situation. Somebody did. Bayern, if they sold someone we didn't expect them to sell, and it transpired that there was money there and they came, you'd have to say to Bruno, look, 8 million's there. What are you saying? What are we saying? But I think he'll be fine. I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't think so. And also as well, when you look at, if they're negotiating, and it's clear that Bruno wants a new deal, then United could look out there and go, all right, what offers have you got on the table then? Because like you said, when you actually do start to look around, you start going, well, actually, who could afford that that transfer at the moment? Who's looking really? You know, it's not going to be like Real Madrid ain't going to do it this summer. Like you said, maybe a PSG because they've got that Mbappe money that they can now spend this summer with his wages gone and all that kind of stuff. But would they go for that? Because even with PSG, they're moving in a bit of a different direction with the players that they sign. You know, they're moving a bit away from the whole like Galactico thing, looking for more like sort of French players. So, yeah, I mean, maybe that's where United have to call his bluff a little bit and be like, well, we haven't got it. Until an offer comes on the table, we're not really seeing anything at the moment.
Not really seeing it. Yeah,
but
exactly.
If he wanted to go, I said this yesterday too. If he wanted to go, then go. It's fine. You
can't. Yeah, obviously we don't want you to. You know, you're a big part of what we're doing. It would leave a huge hole in our team if Bruno Fernandes said I'm off. You know, but at the same time, players leave. You know, if Salah leaves Liverpool, or you know, look what they're going through. Big players are left. The manager's gone. You know, if Trent was to leave, it happens, isn't it? At Arsenal, Saka said, "Oh, I want something else," or Odegaard said, "I'm off." Like, you just got to deal with it. They do it all the time at City. I mean, remember when João Cancelo was playing? We're like, bloody hell, look how good he is. Left back, right back, doesn't matter. Just went, fell out of pep a little bit. See you later, mate. Don't want to be here. Sane was starting to cook. Wicked Sane. Yeah, nah, sorry, mate. You want to leave? Off you go then. No worries with, you know, Jesus and Zinchenko in the same window. Like, you know, they do it all the time. It looks like Edison might go Saudi. De Bruyne might go Saudi. You know, what's his face left? Mahrez left in the same window as Gundogan. Like, they just and that was the most successful City team has ever been. 115 charges. But, you know what I mean? So, football clubs move on in it. But we would have a massive, massive hole in our team.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What we've got later on today, we've got the Trinitaire, powered by the injured.
Yeah.
Dangor. When I saw that, loads of people messaged us saying, "Oh no, powered by Dangor 2024." Like, yeah, he had a shoulder operation for a dislocated shoulder. Yeah. So big up to Dangor, who's recovering. But the Trinitaire, powered by the recovering Dangor, who has no idea about the podcast.
No.
Somehow reach out to him, and I don't know.
Yeah, we got to try and do something.
Funny.
What is funny though is I saw there was one comment the other day was particularly upset by this flex, which said, and it sort of said, "Can you stop with the Dangor stuff? I can't watch anymore." And,
wow.
I thought, if KG sees this is that is the worst. It's like catnip to him. He won't stop. It's not going to stop. It can't stop. You cannot stop him. It's a thing now. He was searching last week. He was a missing poster for Dangor.
Yeah, 100%. It's that's just not going to happen. He's our guy, Dangor. So yeah. Space Eye says everything Ineos is pushing for right now is mediocrity. Tuchel, Poch, and Southgate. Interesting. And a little bit of breaking news that has absolutely nothing to do with us, but Chelsea have signed Tosin Adebayo on a 4-year deal. It also reports Man United tried to jump in there as well, get him on a free. He said, nah. He went Chelsea.
I think there was also something about United didn't want to give him as high wages for what they determined to be a squad player or something like that.
Yeah.
But,
and at Chelsea, it's not like they've got loads of centre-backs.
No, and he doesn't have to relocate. West London still, you know.
Yeah. I mean, Chelsea, they're just... I don't know. They're just getting so many players. I just don't know what they're... I don't know. Because that's what... Fofana, who's injured, been out for ages. Silva left. Chalobah might go, but he's still there. You got Disasi, Badia Shields, and now him. That's 5 centre-backs. Might be missing someone else as well.
I don't know. Look, they love the transfer window. That's what they do. They love the transfer window. They sign everyone, even people that they're not in for right now. There'll be other clubs that will go in for someone. Then the Chelsea go, no, we want.
They'll jump in.
That's what they do.
Yeah. Loads of S's. 9372 says, why would a player come to us when it's not sure who's our manager? Our captain talking to other club, financial shambles. Thank you, Ineos. So yeah, saying we're not an attractive prospect. So yeah. Well, we'll see you for the Trinity later on today at 6 p.m. If there's anything that happens during the day that is breaking news, you know what? Of course, we do not even need to tell you that we will bring it to you straight away. And yes, thank you for smashing the like, guys. Thank you for watching. we'll see you later on today. Take care. Peace.